In the beginning, there was the fantastical and fanciful My Little Pony. And then came along the twice as fancy My Little Pony. But what if there was a pony 3 times as fancy as all of the My Little Ponies? The thrice as fancy My Little Pony. Hello, artists, and art appreciators, and welcome to this channel's first ever collaboration. Yesella from Retrogeekcrafts and myself are creating ponies from the same base pony and the same prompt. A custom pony fancier than the twice as fancy My Little Pony, the 3 times as fancy, or thrice as fancy pony. We could use multiple gimmicks, a new gimmick, combine how they designed the original My Little Ponies. Anything goes, really. We just had to use the same base pony Firefly, which was one of the first ever released Pegasus ponies, mostly because she's one of the only ones I had, and I actually had an extra of her. So I had to come up with a few unique designs, ranging from a cloudy carousel-style pony with raindrops, extra lightning bolts, extra spots, actual fireflies, as in like the bug. But before I show you which design I'm going with, I wanted to talk about how excited I was when Retrogeekcrafts responded to my email. She is an amazing artist and toy restorer and customizer on YouTube who I started watching a fair few years ago now. She has tons of amazing and informative videos on cleaning and restoring My Little Ponies, which made me interested in the topic even more. And she also has some like wild customs and some unique pieces of art that make her really stand out among pony customizers. And I say that as someone who has seen hundreds of pony customs because I'm insane. And I love browsing forums and galleries to see what people have designed. But I'm going to talk about all the videos of hers I think you should watch. But I wanted to first talk about what I'm doing because this entire thing is a new process for me. I've not filmed this kind of thing or done this kind of thing before. As you all know, I quite like My Little Pony, and I'm a big fan of vintage toys in particular, but I don't have that many, and I've never cleaned off one that was this dirty. My interest is mostly buying as many unique sculpts, as in like different molds, ponies that are in different poses. So I buy lots that have variable ponies, and that also means some of them come from different sources, some of them are dirtier than others. You know, because I do things like the toy reproductions, I like to have a lot of different references, but that also means that I don't have that many ponies in general, and also the things that I like to make models of are often things that I can't get, like the Takara My Little Ponies, or, you know, things like that, the pony friends that I don't have. I did not have any duplicates other than the 2 fireflies, so I decided to take the one that was the most damaged. The design that I chose to go with was a pretty literal interpretation of 3 times as fancy, and probably is influenced by one of my favorite My Little Ponies, Zigzag the zebra. Zigzag is both an original vintage My Little Pony and is a zebra. He, or she, or they, is/are the only non-pony My Little Pony I have. I'm so jealous of Retrogeekcrafts for having Cha-Cha the llama, who's one of their harder to get pony friends. And she made an amazing video where she scanned them a little while ago, and also scanned one of the Takara baby fakies, which I'll talk about in a few seconds, or minutes, something like that. Zigzag has snout and hoof markings in the box art, which isn't something that the vintage ponies ever actually did for any of the mainline ponies. So they didn't actually do it on the zebra toy, they just did it in the box art. So I wanted to add more detail, more like the box art actually was. And I felt like the totally blue stripes were a little too intense, so I used a light purpley pink to make the stripes on the bottom half of her body, and I add the blue stripes later on top. So it's like half blue and half pink stripes, and I think that helps not like overwhelm the entire thing. My fireflies were both fairly yellow pink, and not like a vibrant pink, which is probably due to age and can be fixed with salon cream, and is something that Retrogeekcrafts does a lot on her channel, but I was kind of nervous about doing that, it would take a while to like set up and cost some money, and it was pretty cloudy outside at the time I started this project, so I couldn't like put them outside to do the de-yellowing. But yeah, you can see how she de-yellows things in her videos. In a lot of them, the pony was white and then turns yellow, but you can like sort of turn it back. So I could have reduced the yellow pinkiness of these ponies, but I thought they were okay. They're still pink. They're just pinky yellow. Speaking of Retrogeekcrafts, let me talk to you about her channel while I paint the pony, because, you know, I've done painting on my channel before, so it's not something new. I could talk about other things. I've been a big fan of hers for a few years, and her restoration videos are so interesting. Like, the transformation from dirty pony to clean and completely renewed is amazing to see. She's the expert. She literally wrote a book on it. And she has a bunch of restorations that are really rare ponies in America and Europe because they're Argentinian and made by a different company. And I believe she's working on a book about all of the vintage ponies ever, including those that we in the sort of like English-speaking world don't hear about because they're made in South America, which is going to be super fun. I'm excited for it. But in addition to restoration, she has some super interesting customs and really unique customs and different videos, and she's like experiments with different mediums, not just restoring ponies. And you can see that Gisela has been influencing my art for a while. Like she gave direct inspiration to this G1 style Celestia 3D model I made after I saw her video. But also in subconscious ways, like this stand for my sea pony was probably based on this stand she made for her baby sea ponies, and I only realized that after the fact when I like went back and was looking at her videos, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's where I got that idea. So I'm sorry for not giving her credit on that. She definitely inspired it, because I think they just look so similar. I'm like, oh, I definitely saw that video, and then it was just in my brain. So because Gisela has many more subscribers than I do, congratulations on 50K. I imagine a lot of people watching this video already follow her, but I'm still gonna hype her up in case you haven't seen her, but also because she has a lot of videos and not everybody goes to view the back catalog of videos on people's YouTube channels. In fact, I am guilty of this because even though I found her channel a while ago, I think when she made the chameleon pony, I'm not sure, which is so weird that it just made her stand out so much. I love it. I did not look in her back catalog and see the baby Takara pony she restored until I had found out about the Takara ponies from somewhere else and was looking for videos about them. But she has a Takara fakey baby pony, and she did like a restoration on it some number of years ago. And you know how obsessed I am now with the Takara ponies, so I'm surprised that I didn't see it at the time, and then become obsessed with them like a year earlier. So at this point now, I've watched basically her entire back catalog, and as a Retrogeekcraft expert and #1 fan, I can give you suggestions in case you haven't seen all of them. You know? In case you missed it, she has a few recent videos which were overlooked. I don't know, rejected by the algorithm because YouTube has issues, in my opinion, but they involve laser engraving, and I thought the result of the Lord of the Rings one was so amazing. There's like Metal Smaug the Dragon based on the original art, and I love that she's always trying new things and brings like the retro and the geek to all of her crafts, and that video is no exception. YouTube doesn't really like it when people try new things. They don't like promoting videos that they're like not certain about, I guess. I mean, even for me, like as someone who doesn't usually do pony related customs, even though I make custom dolls, I don't know how much it'll like this video, but I hope it does because I had a lot of fun making it, and I want to do more things like this, but I also, you know, I don't want YouTube to be mad at me for branching out. Sometimes it can be difficult following things that you're passionate about, but then also accepting that the YouTube gods have opinions about what you're gonna make. But she's done some 3D printing. Recently, she did one of my models, which is why I reached out to her. She did the sitting pony model. I would have been way too shy otherwise, but she was very nice in that video, and she's very nice over email. I mean, I've left her comments over the years and she has responded to a lot of them. She's always very nice. So, of course, there's the mini baby Takara resin print earrings, which I talked about that earlier because she also did Cha Cha the Llama and scanned it. And that video came out right before my Takara video, and I was so embarrassed. I was worried that someone might think I was copying her. And I'd been working on my own model before that. But, I mean, we can both model things and have 3D models of things. Mine's not as accurate as, like, a scan would be. But I think there's a place for us all. I mean, we all just obviously love the same thing, so... She also has some older videos about archaeology-themed ponies, so you should give those some love because I need her to make more. I love toys combined with fun facts. You know me, I love some animal facts thrown into an otherwise toy-centered video, so... And she even has, like, old videos that are, like, tutorials on things like how the UV chambers work, and doll clothes and styling pony hair. And that's, like, pre-voiceover era Yesella. But they're, like, genuinely helpful because I'm going to use the fairy one soon. Probably not even, like, in a video or anything, just because I have a flutter pony with no wings who has been sitting there for so long with no wings that I really just need to follow a tutorial to fix them. But I guess I just think it's so cool how her channel has evolved from, like, tutorials and just pretty straightforward restorations to, like, total transformations, like the recent Vincent van Gogh pony. It's so emblematic of the fact, like, toys are art, and I don't just say that because she painted Starry Night on the pony. But it's just like there are designers and artists who sculpt and planned all of these ponies, and now people restore them and also use the sculpts to create their own original designs and to iterate and to be inspired by them and inspire other people, and I just think that's great. You know, artists make, like, everything around us. Tables and chairs and buildings and kitchen appliances are all designed by people to look aesthetically pleasing, pretty much. And, you know, there are different people who resonate with different sort of objects. There are people who are really into cars and sneakers and clothes and vacuum cleaners and everything. And there are people who are into toys. And we all, you know, see them a little differently. And I will say that, like, I feel like toy people are unique because they're, like, quote, just toys, unquote. And they, like, quote, unquote, don't do anything. But, like, they do. They make us happy. And maybe joy is just as important of a part as the human experience. You know? I don't know. Was that too deep? I don't know if that's too cheesy. I guess they are just toys. But also, now I feel emotional about toys. I am inexplicably reminded of the horses on the walls of the caves of Lascaux in France. There was an exhibit and recreation of the caves at the Field Museum some many years ago. Do you think the people who made them 20,000 years ago would have liked My Little Pony? Would they, like, ascribe some meaning to our obsession with the horses like we do to them? Or would they, like, understand us? They would be like, wow, I also love horses. Would they have made the horses pink if they could? I don't know. Anyways. Now that I'm done with painting, I can talk about what else I did with the pony. The first Pegasus and Unicorns ponies, released in the 80s, had the gimmick of glitter symbols, which is why I decided to add glitter to all of Firefly's dark blue stripes. I already had this glitter lying around, and now I just gotta add a hollow taco to it. It did end up pretty chunky. I wanted to make it lay as flat as possible, but it just wanted to be thick. So my number one tip when working with glitter is to use a lint roller or just some tape. Lint roller is basically just tape that's facing outwards to pick up all of the extra glitter. And I just did that a bunch. I was actually using the glitter on a piece of paper. That's why the background was white. And then when I switched back to my foam board, I still got some glitter on it, of course. So I lint rolled it off. I actually kind of lint rolled some off of the pony too, just when I felt like it was still falling. onto the ground. I don't want to get it everywhere, and I want it to be secure. I also do that before I wash my hands. I rub tape on them, and I rub like the lint roller on them so they don't have any glitter on them before I wash my hands. You don't want to put glitter into your sink. That just sends it directly into the water. At least if you put it in a piece of tape and you put it like securely in a bag, then it's going to stay in place. It's not going to get everywhere. Of course, seal the glitter very well. You put a nice glossy taco on top of that holographic glitter, and then it's not going to get everywhere all over your house. I also added a glossy layer to the purple stripes because zigzag stripes are really glossy for some reason, and I wanted that effect. None of my other ponies have symbols that are glossy. I don't know if it's just zigzag or if that's true of all of the non-pony pony characters. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I just made all of the purple spots really glossy, and it makes them like stand out in a way, especially because they're so similar in shade to the rest of the pony. They're a more purpley pink than the pony is, because the pony's a more like I said, yellowy pink, but I feel like they stand out really nicely, especially with the gloss. So I've never haired or rehaired anything before. This was like a totally new experience. It both wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, and kind of was, because it was like physically quite difficult on my wrist. But I get nylon hair everywhere. When I've made glue wigs in the past, they're disasters. So instead I just cut off teeny little pieces, like 5 inches of hair at a time. I knew I couldn't make it very long because, as you can see, I didn't remove the previous hair. So like that's her original hair that was already on her head. I removed a little bit where it was cut, like some kid had cut the forelock, which is the part at the very front, and then the part at the back. That's like often cut very short on ponies. I have like a couple other ponies that have that too, which is annoying because now I need to get an exact color match for their hair. And yeah, it's just going to be kind of a nuisance. But I wanted to make her hair striped, so of course that's why I did the lining bolts, was because I wanted to have dark blue stripes where the lining bolts are. And I didn't remove the hair even where the dark blue was going to go. I just put it on the outside of where the hair already was. I did get light blue to match the top of the hair. It doesn't match completely, but it's like mostly a match, so that I could redo the tail, because as you can see early on in the video, she didn't have a tail at all when I got her. That's not that uncommon with these. I think also one of my other ponies also does not have a tail, so I need to get new hair for her. I don't know if it was Moon Dancer or not. It was one of them. Also, I will admit that the hair is kind of one of the reasons this video took so long to make. It took me a long time to figure out what to order and where to order from. I've only ever ordered hair once, and I was worried about paying shipping, so I had to figure out what colors I wanted, and I bought a few colors. So there will be more nylon hair in the videos in the future because I bought a variety of colors, and I didn't use all of the ones that I bought for this video. Yeah, I didn't have any zip ties also, like Yesela uses in her videos, so I just used the string and like a wood bead and hoped that it was tight enough. At least it won't cause any rust because it's just string and a wooden bead. I had to clean rust out of my frilly flower because she had clearly gotten wet inside. And if you didn't know, these tails are usually held on by metal washers, which was, I don't know who from Hasbro decided that metal washers was a good idea to hold in the tails, but it caused a lot of rust in a lot of ponies. So now time for the reveal. This is Firefly, all dirty before. Can't quite see it, but a lot of that like brown stuff is just like little tiny dots. And here's the after. I was going to put her hair in a braid and then take it out so it was all wavy, but I decided to leave it in the braid because I liked it. And as you can see, I took her out to the forest preserve to see all of the pretty flowers and such. I'm always worried about taking my art projects out. Once I make them, I don't want them to get ruined, but I do like taking my My Little Ponies out to places, so I knew that I had to get some photos. We also saw a robin. It was a really overcast day, but still pretty nice for taking photos other than all of the wind. But luckily her hair looks as if it's been super windswept. Because I added extra hair to it, it's super thick. I also brought other Firefly with. I brought the second Firefly, which isn't really restored, she's just cleaned. But that way you can kind of see like what the original Firefly looks like, since the new one has so many more decorations on it. And I styled their hair a bit differently too. The new Firefly has more of like curls to her hair. It was super hard for me to style Firefly's hair. I used the method with one straw and then a second straw that's cut. So I showed you her hair looking really messy right there. Thank you again to Gisela from Retrogeekcrafts for doing this collaboration with me. You have to go watch, if you haven't already, her Firefly video. It's super exciting. It was super fun to do a project and know someone else is completing the same little prompt. It was really fun to finally get to do a My Little Pony and the true vintage My Little Pony video, because I hadn't before, and especially to do it with someone whose artwork and customs and restorations I really love. So yes, thank you again to Retrogeekcrafts. Go watch her video. Have I said that enough? And thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and so on. And thank you to my Ko-fi supporters, Retrogeekcrafts, Luca, Casino, Gabby Rose, and Serendipity. And I hope you all have a nice day. Okay, bye!